Iran has unveiled a hypersonic missile. Yep. It travels at Mach 5, so that's 5,000 kilometers per hour. I mean, this is insane. Even the United States, even they don't have hypersonic missiles. Here you go. It's called the Fatah. This is incredible. I mean, I think China are also testing now. I'm not quite sure about China, but Russia definitely have them, and they were used recently to attack the Patriot missile system, right? And they completely overwhelmed the Patriots. And you remember how they were trying to do damage control, literally. They were saying that, the Ukrainian defense system shot down all of the Russian missiles, and yet somehow the Patriot batteries had been destroyed. Wow, how did that happen? Did they auto-destruct? Let's go through this Guardian article. It's so funny. So Iran has alarmed Israel. Oh no, poor Israel. By unveiling what it claims is its first domestically made hypersonic missile. Just a small lesson for you. I know I shouldn't, cook up too much of a fuss about this, but do you notice how whenever Russia does something, or Iran, the evil countries, quote unquote, you see how the Western press, they always say Russia claims, Iran claims. And then when it comes to Israel, and it comes to Ukraine, and it comes to the West, it's always this happened. It's not United Kingdom claims or Israel claims. No. It happened. It's true. Anyway, doesn't matter. Let me continue here. They say Iran had previously said it would be able to hit Israel within 400 seconds. 400 seconds. Do the math. How many minutes? In the comments, quick. In the comment section. The Iranian president, Ibrahim Raisi, attended the unveiling of the missile named Fatah, or Conqueror in Farsi. It is claimed to have a range of 1,400 kilometers. To be able to travel, well, I told you this already. So, and to bypass air defense systems. Yeah, you are not going to have much time to use David's sling or thong or Iron Dome against this. Hypersonic missiles can fly at least at Mach 5, which is 5 times the speed of sound, and their speed and claimed maneuverability is believed to make them difficult to intercept. Only 4 other countries claim to have them in their arsenals. Iran said in November, it was on the way to building a hypersonic ballistic missile that could maneuver in and out of the atmosphere. It can bypass, quote, the most advanced anti-ballistic missile systems of the United States and the Zionist regime, including Israel's Iron Dome. Don't you just love this about Iran? How they just call things out. They don't say Israel. They say the Zionist regime, which is how it should be referred to. Don't you just love that? There's no messing about. There's no mucking about. They just call things out for what they are, right? But in the West, it's like, Israel, They're funny, man. They're really funny. They're not going to be able to do much against this. Let's continue. Here are some photos, right? I think this was part of a press release, just so you can see the thing, right? I like the red lighting. Not bad. So, Raisi said this missile, quote, this missile means that the region will be safe from evildoers and foreign aggression. So its message to the people of the region is a message of security, and its message to those who are thinking of attacking Iran is that the Islamic Republic is a powerful country, and its power aims to support the people of Iran and the oppressed people of the world. China, The Guardian writes that China is believed to be pursuing hypersonic missiles, as is the US. Russia claims to already be fielding the weapons and has said it has used them on the battlefield in Ukraine. Ukraine's Air Force said in May it had shot down a Russian hypersonic Kinzhal missile with US Patriot air defenses. Maybe, but why didn't you tell us about last week? Come on. What happened then? In the past, Iran has been accused of inflating its missile technology claims. Really? Well, how come there's a nuclear deal then? Why are you so afraid of them having a nuclear missile or a nuclear bomb if they inflate their capabilities? Don't you love these juxtapositions, these utter hypocrisies? Make up your minds. Is Iran building a nuclear bomb, or is it making up its capabilities and strengths when it comes to missiles? Which one is it? And I obviously I know nuclear weapons are not the same as missile technology, but you certainly need the latter in order to deliver the former. You need ballistic missiles to deliver a nuclear weapon, to deliver the payload. So they sort of go hand in hand. Not entirely. They're different domains, but nevertheless, it's so funny. It's like, oh, Iran doesn't have anything good, but Iran can also build a nuclear bomb. Okay. Nice contradiction, bro. So they say here that poor Israel expressed growing alarm that the West was considering a new negotiation with Tehran to reinvigorate the stalled nuclear deal, controlling Iran's civil nuclear program. So the UN Nuclear Inspectorate, the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, also said it had reached an initial agreement with its Iranian counterparts to reinvigorate its severely curtailed inspection process. I was at the IAEA just a few days ago, and I was reporting about how the IAEA closed 2 cases on Iran. These are not legal cases or court cases. These are just matters that they had not cleared yet with Iran, because they were saying that this is the IAEA. They were saying that there's 83.7% enriched uranium. That's very high. So you need 90 for a nuclear bomb. And they were saying that there are particles or traces of particles of 83.7% enriched uranium in Marivan. And they were also complaining about Fordow. So these are two different places in Iran where they have nuclear sites. And suddenly they just shut the cases, right? Why? Because there is nothing. Right? Iran is not building a nuclear bomb. They do not have secret sites. And the IAEA just, they shut the case because there's nothing there. I made a video about it. I was in the UN. I made a video. So for those of you who are new to the channel, I do original reporting on the ground for the IAEA, UN, and nuclear deal matters, right? So I have a whole playlist on the channel regarding the Iran nuclear deal. So if you want to learn more about the nuclear deal, it's called the JCPOA. I have a playlist. I've interviewed the Russian ambassador who is obviously negotiating for them during these talks, the Iranian chief negotiator who's the deputy foreign minister, Professor Merendi, who's an advisor to the Iranians. So I've done tons of videos, about the nuclear talks in Vienna on the ground. So do watch that playlist if you want to learn more. It's just interesting because, Iran has sworn off of building nuclear weapons. And, they, even despite the sanctions, look how much they've been able to accomplish, right? So I know the West and Israel, they like to accuse Iran of building a nuclear weapon and so on. Actually, even the Americans don't believe that, by the way. It's mostly the Israelis. But anyway, the point is that even under sanctions, look what the Iranians have been able to do, right? They have a defense. And when we say defense in this case, we actually mean defense, right? We're not talking about offense. We're talking about defense, because the foreign policy is very clear. It's not offensive. So Iran's defense program is very, very capable. They have, as you can see, hypersonic missiles, ballistic missiles, excellent drones. They have an excellent navy. And this is why they have empowered other parties in the region to defend themselves, and helped other parties in the region to defend themselves. Whether it's Syria defending itself from the CIA, or Al-Qaeda, or ISIS, Iran came to Syria's defense. Whether it's Yemen, Iran also supported them, diplomatically and politically. Whether it's Hezbollah, Iran also supported them to kick out the Israeli occupiers. whether it's the Hashd al-Sha'bi, which is the PMU in Iraq, also supported by Iran. So you see, the Palestinian struggle is a pillar of Iran's revolution from 1979. It's always been about that. And Iran, being a member of this region, doesn't want to see countries fall into into decay, like what happened in Iraq. The Americans and British came in, destroyed everything, created a power vacuum, and then you had Al Qaeda and ISIS and all this destruction and death. And keep in mind, Iraq shares a border with Iran, so they didn't want to see the same thing happen again in Syria. So they've helped to prop up the region and kind of give people a hand. So the fact that they have these hypersonic missiles, this will send a clear message to the United States and Israel that attacking Iran is out of the question. And the Israelis definitely like to do assassinations. They killed some nuclear scientists. They've bombed nuclear sites in Iran. Don't you think it's funny, by the way, that everyone is so concerned about Russia weaponizing Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, right? Supposedly, but they don't say a word when Israel is literally bombing, planting explosives in nuclear sites in Iran. Like, where's the concern for that? For these actual terrorist attacks that literally happened, that actually happened. This is reality, not, it's not something hypothesized or speculation. These are terrorist attacks on nuclear sites that Israel has done multiple times. At Natanz, for example, there was a cyber one, and then also one, with physical explosives. And why am I bringing this up? Because in the article right here, they're saying the IAEA, right, is frustrated that Iran is not allowing it enough access. Oh, really? Do you know why the IAEA is having trouble monitoring the sites in Iran? Because Israel blew up one of the cameras with its terrorist attack. They don't tell you that part, that the camera that doesn't work was blown up by Israel. They just kind of, the so-called journalists talking about Iran and the nuclear program, they just kind of forget, right, that Israel blew up one of the cameras. Oh, no. Yeah, let's leave that out. They also forget that Iran is under sanctions, that they've had enough, that Iran followed the nuclear deal, and Donald Trump backpedaled and screwed them. He pulled out of the agreement. He ran away from the agreement. He turned his back on the United States agreement, and then he put sanctions on Iran. Go complain to the Americans. This is not Iran's fault. It's literally in the agreement. If you would actually read it, you so-called journalists, it literally says in the document, if the United States reimposes sanctions, Iran is entitled to cut off access and do whatever it wants. And it's funny because Iran is not even building a bomb. They're just saying, we will keep the recordings and not give them to you until the Americans enter the agreement and lift the sanctions. That's it. I mean, come on, you have to respect them. This is like the most patient and logical and peaceful thing that they could possibly do. It's leverage. They're being crapped on by the Americans. The Americans are screwing them. They need to find leverage. So they did it by saying, okay, we're going to increase uranium enrichment to 60%. Originally, it was less than that. The limit's 3.87. They went to 20, I believe, and then it was to 60. And they also cut off, like I said, the cameras. So, it's America. The United States is the one that needs to lift the sanctions. The Iranians are not building a bomb or interested in a bomb. But, it's very interesting that they have the hypersonic missile technology now needed to deter the Israelis, because once again, Iran is not bombing Israel's nuclear sites. Iran is not oppressing Palestinians. The Israelis are the aggressors here. Iran has never assassinated a scientist or nuclear scientist from Israel. Iran has never done these things. So you can clearly see who the aggressor is. And having hypersonic missile technology like this is very important, because on one hand, you send a message to the Israelis, and you also send a message to the IAEA that, we don't have a bomb, but if we wanted to, if it ever came to that, we could do it. And we also know how to deliver it, because remember, it's not just about building a bomb, a nuclear bomb. You actually have to be able to deliver it. And one of those methods or avenues or vectors is a missile. And I mean, let's be honest here. Forget the nuclear warhead. Just a regular missile that can travel at this speed is going to overwhelm most of the air defenses on this planet. That's why only 4 countries can actually fire these sorts of missiles. They're very, very important and highly coveted and difficult to obtain. And you can see how Iran is overtaking is overtaking the Americans even in this domain, right? Even America, even the United States don't have hypersonic missiles. Just to play devil's advocate, quite literally, I'm joking, but maybe the United States do have it and just don't want people to know. You have to remember that there are things such as military secrets. So it's also very possible that the Americans maybe were the first to have it, and you just don't know, and we don't know about it. But it doesn't matter, because Iran obtaining this technology domestically on top of it, it levels the playing field, right? It puts the balance of power, back at zero, and so there's a good amount of deterrence involved in that. Very, very good deterrent, and Russia certainly has these missiles. The Guardian don't seem convinced, but I can tell you they do. One thing I would add, the last thing I would add is, remember who's giving drones to the Russians. It's not China, it's not India, it's not Turkey, it's Iran. Iran is giving and supplying that technology. Now, obviously, in a perfect world, there would be no war in Ukraine, and I hope that there is no war. But, because I don't want to give you the impression that, military technology is so cool and kills people. This stuff kills people at the end, right? And my point here is not that these weapons of war, are cool or something. My point is that Iran is the one that has the technology and sophistication required to build and manufacture these things, that to the point that Russia is even getting them from Iran. And that indicates that Iran, even under sanctions, have prevailed in terms of science, in terms of their defense, and their economy. Although economy, maybe we shouldn't bring that into play, because the banking sector and oil sector have really been crushed, right? And people still are suffering from the sanctions. You shouldn't think that just because they have these missiles that people are not suffering. They need these missiles to defend Iran from Israel, the United States, and so on. They need these things, right? It's a top priority when you're under attack. And I'm not saying that they put them like above food or something. No, but this is something that will defend Iran. And the fact the Russians are getting drones from them says a lot. Really.